let's bring in the class act, the GOAT, Dan Miller, of course, the voice of the Lions and sports director at Fox 2. Dan, I never, ever want to be disrespectful to a team in the National Football League because each and every week we're reminded when you think you know what's going on in the National Football League, you're only kidding yourself. But I'm only doing my job when I say there's not a lot going right now for this Cincinnati Bengal football team.
No, and you don't get a lot of double-digit favorites in this league, which the Lions are going into this game. So, to me, the blueprint is what you did last week against against Cleveland. You're the better team. Go out there, figure out a way to win the game. That game took patience. That was not an easy game. That defense is legitimately good, but that's kind of the way that things work in this league. The other team, if they're not as good as you, they're waiting for you to make a mistake and give them a chance. Don't do that. So be patient, take advantage of your opportunities, see if you can get a couple of takeaways, turn them into points like you did last week. That could be the difference in the game. But it's find a way to win, Sean, and just exert your will, and you're the better team. Take care of business. But you can't go in there, as you say, and be disrespectful because they do have some really good football players over there that can wreck your day really quickly. Receivers, defensive linemen, and you got to be wary of those.
No doubt, Dan. 10.5-point spread is a lot to me. It's on the road. And I know this was a really tough ticket at the beginning of the year. I know all the Lion fans wanted to go to Cincy, 5-hour ride, get on out there. I remember looking for tickets in August, and they were over $300 a piece at that point. I know they've come down a little bit, but I believe Detroit fans are going to be taking over that stadium on Sunday.
Oh, when you get a stadium that's close like this one, there's a good chance. And as you say, tickets have probably come down. Look, you can just look at the time slot for this game.
Yeah.
4:25 in the national window. When that was assigned, people thought that was going to be Joe Burrow against the Lions and Joe Burrow against Jared Goff. And obviously that has changed, and that's changed the fortunes of the Bengals season and the way this game looks on paper. So I assume, to your point, and I haven't looked, tickets will have come down, and I don't think Lions fans' interest will have come down at all. I think they're going to be there probably in good numbers, and I imagine we will look out behind that Lions bench and see a lot of fans at this game that have traveled down.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Looking forward to your calls of the game this week because you probably are going to get a lot of runway going against this Bengals team. But I asked this question the other day to the panel.
We're way too confident here, guys.
Hey, man. Hey, call it what you will.
Being confident, Dan.
Call it what you will.
This is all ripe to be played back on Monday morning if things don't go right.
No, that's true. That's true. I try to hold this Lions team to a different standard, and they do a good job of taking care of the teams that they should take care of. But by all accounts, you are correct. Anything can happen in this league. But I wanted to ask you, because I asked the panel the other day, what has impressed you more over this first month? Is it the job by the offensive line, the job by the defensive line, or the job that the coordinators have done through the first month? What has impressed you the most?
Let me go back to something that you said for a second here, and that was about the Lions. I forget exactly how you put it, but one thing you can say about this team, and probably one of the reasons we feel good about this, is Dan Campbell's team don't play down very often.
Yep.
I mean, that's really, I think, one of his super strengths is he gets this team ready to play. And I think he's got a really good sense of where they are and what they need to be ready. But, man, we just don't see them dip very often. They'll have an off game that they have to overcome something, and usually they do. But he usually has them ready. To your question, look, number one, the coordinators have done a terrific job. I mean, that first game, it gave us all a little bit of pause. I think not just about the coordinators, but about the offensive line. And I think John Morton, just starting with him, has done an amazing job with that offense and spreading the ball around, utilizing all of his weapons. Last week it was Gibbs. The week before it was Montgomery. And then getting that offensive line in gear, and obviously Hank Fraley deserves a lot of credit for that, the job that they're doing. I mean, guys, we've never seen this team not give up a sack 3 games in a row in the same season. It happened across 2 seasons, but never within 1 season, and this week they're going for 4 in a row. So, full marks to him. And then just what we have done from that first game to where they've been in the last 3 games, just the way that they have dialed up pressure, whether it's been from the front or more often, when we've seen the blitz, it's worked. In that first game, it just felt like nobody was getting there. So whatever tweaks that Kelvin has made, I think he'd say, I didn't do anything. They're just doing their job. But I think he's done a really nice job of taking these guys, putting pressure on the quarterback, more importantly, getting the quarterback on the ground. I got so sick of hearing about pressures last year, and I do know they're important. But you win when you put the quarterback on the ground and you put the team behind the down sticks. They've got 14 sacks. That's tied for second in the NFL. That's including none in the first game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if any of us thought they'd be there, but man, if they could keep that up and be one of the teams in this league that does that the most often, it's going to be something else. I guess that's a really long way of saying I don't know how you say who's doing a better job. I think right now they're all doing a great job, and these new coordinators have acquitted themselves really well.
Dan Miller, of course, the voice of the Detroit Lions, sports director at Fox 2. Make sure you check out. They've got wall-to-wall coverage, your home, your television home for the Lions for sure, Fox 2. Dan, it's funny to piggyback on what KG was saying, and granted, there's been a grand total of 3 wins over the past, or 3 losses over the past couple of years. Really, the last time you can look back and go, that's one they shouldn't drop was maybe that trip to Soldier Field towards the end of the 2023 team. That was a 4-8 team that stepped up and bit us in the behind. But to magnify your point, this is a team that gets up for every game, regardless of who the opponent is. Dan Campbell's not going to let them come out, Mark Spindler, flat.
Yeah. What's flat? No, he doesn't let them do that, and I think that's really, man. There's something that he has, and it's not just a motivation. It's not just that you get your team ready to play. It's that you understand what they need in the moment, and I think he's just got such a great feel. And I think some of that too is also their trust in him and their belief in him. That when he says, "Hey guys, we need to watch this. We need to do this. We need to prepare for this." They don't just let it go in one ear and out the other. They're with him. They believe him. They believe in these coaches, and that doesn't always happen. So, I think it's refreshing because I think we've all had the frustrating Sundays in the past where, and look, there's going to be one. Sean, you mentioned one. I remember going down to that Carolina game where we froze our tails off and they got killed down there, and probably cost them a playoff game in 22. But it's a really high-level thing when you constantly have your team ready to go and you constantly have your team ready to play regardless of the opponent, and you go out there and you handle your business. You only get 17 cracks at this thing. So to let one go because you weren't ready or didn't take it seriously, man, that's got to be a rough thing to stomach, and he doesn't want to see them do that, and he doesn't let them do that.
Hey, Dan, I didn't think Amon-Ra could get any better than he's been, but 6 touchdowns already this year, over 300 yards, 27 catches. Jared Goff looks at him first like he should. This guy has got to be a top 5 receiver now, maybe even better than that. What's your take on what St. Brown has done to his game?
I don't know how many you'd put above him.
Yep.
And the thing that sometimes is difficult with Amon-Ra is because he's so unique. Because we look at some guys and we say, oh, they got 4.35 speed or whatever, and maybe he doesn't have that. And I just had this conversation with John Morton yesterday. We were just kicking something around before we taped something. And we had been talking on a show I did about a comp for Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we were trying to figure, and everybody who came up with was like, no, he's a speed guy, or no, he was bigger. And the problem is, he's so strong, so tough, runs such precise routes, has such great hands, that there's usually something he does better than somebody else, even if their physical attributes, mainly it's just speed or size, were different than his. And John Morton gave me an interesting one, and he mentioned it at the press conference yesterday, and then I kind of talked to him a little more about it, and it was Anquan Bolden. And Anquan Bolden was so driven. We saw him here late in his career, just how he did everything. It was a lot like Amon-Ra, the way that he was never going to let anybody be better than him because they worked harder than him. That was never going to happen. And just strong hands, clutch, need him, he's there. And I still think it's hard to come up with somebody that is as good as him. And guys, we're talking about somebody right now, and it's early, but that is tracking on a Hall of Fame career.
For sure.
And it is the numbers that he's putting up, put him up there with anybody in the history of the National Football League over their first 5 years. And it's every moment that you think about, he's the guy that's there when they need him. If it's the end of the game against the Rams or the end of the game against the Vikings or a clutch first down that you need, it's Amon-Ra that's there. And let me just expand that a little bit too and say that the relationship that you have between Goff and Amon-Ra and the way they're on the same page and the work that they do together, that is really, I think, something special. And yes, individually they are both amongst the best at their position and at their craft, but together, just what they have kind of put together here in Detroit, man, it's really cool to see. And I don't think you can take it for granted because I don't think it's something you see many places.
Nah, Dan, that connection is absolutely unreal. Totally agree with you. And we finally got some positive news on the injury front, you know, with the news of Aleem McNeil coming back to the team. And just wanted to get your thoughts on how he figures to contribute to this new look Lions defense now led under Kelvin Shepherd when he comes back.
Well, with that defensive line playing the way that they're playing, they're back in the top 10 against the run. They're sacking the quarterback. You have already guys that are playing at a high level up there. Tyleek is doing a really nice job.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Reader, these coaches this week, the praise that they had for him, for the job that he's doing, and it's one of those positions, and this is, said a lot, but it's true. You don't get a lot of stats. You just set other guys up to get stats. So to throw him into that rotation with the other guys they have that they can play inside or outside and have the ability to move guys around, it's just going to give Kelvin Shepherd, and let's remember, this is a Pro Bowl level player.
Yes, sir.
This is a top-notch defensive tackle you're adding. This just isn't a guy. This is a core piece of this team that you're getting back. So it's exciting to think about what he could be in that rotation with those guys, and then further the different kind of looks that Kelvin Shepherd could throw out there where maybe all three of those guys are on the field at the same time. And, some of their goal line looks or whatever it might be. It's just going to give them more versatility. It's just going to keep guys fresher. And it just gives you another playmaker out there on the field.
Dan Lomas, TJ will have the game for you. Of course, Fox 2's got you covered all day. Dan, don't say we never did anything for you. We did not subject you to the Tom Kowalski, is he a fit about Trey Hendrickson? I know you appreciate that. And also, one more thing, Maz is so excited to tell you that you can get a free car wash from Jack. It's Free Car Wash Friday. Okay, so just
nice.
in case you're interested, make sure you hit us up. We'll hook you up. Okay, Dan?
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Have a great trip to the Queen
Dan.
City.
Safe travels,
Thanks,
bud.
guys. Appreciate it.
Dan
I can
Miller.
Trade back with me, guys.
Right.
See,
Please
now
do.
you're feeding them, Dan. Here we did you a favor, and now you're feeding them.
Please do, Dan.
It might happen. Miller said it might happen.
See you, bud.
Thanks, Dan.